Welcome back to the Hall of Origins. We are now traveling down the Donkey Kong hallway, but today we aren't looking at an iconic member of the Kong family, but a character who creates a lot of conflict for them. One could say that Nintendo's Hero Gallery is some of the best, if not the best, of all gaming. But another category that is just as great, if not even better, are their selection of memorable villains. Yes, Nintendo has some of the best baddies running around their signature franchises, and one of the most notorious is the main adversary to the banana-loving DK, the leader of the Kremlin army, King K Rool. But how did this carnivorous crocodile get his start? Let's go back to the early 90s and take a look. So Greg Mayles, a video game designer, was working at Rare on such games as Solar Jetman and the notoriously hard-as-nails Punish Yourself 10 Ways from Sunday, Battletoads. He was then set to work on a point-and-click adventure game for computers, a game with tropical settings, like oceans with pirate ships full of treasure, and islands with coconut palm trees. Think the Monkey Island franchise. This fantasy adventure was given the name Johnny Blastoff and the Kremling Armada. Love the name, by the way. A bunch of concept art shows reptile-looking characters all sharing a Battletoads-inspired design. One of these large crocodiles was an imposing boss-type looking character named Crud. With his towering stature, his crown-like shaped horns, and long cape, it was easy to deduce that he was the one in command of this alleged Kremling Armada. Or at least, we can assume, because the game was never released, or even officially announced by Rare. But luckily, instead of completely getting rid of this idea of the Kremling army, they were brought over to be the main adversaries in Rare's new game, Donkey Kong Country. In this new adventure platformer, the gargantuan gorilla must do battle with the various members of the repurposed Kremling army. But who is going to be leading this attack against the Kong family? Well, this design of Crud was then redesigned by Steve Mayles to match the new art style, and he even came up with the character's new name. At first he wanted to call him Commander K Rool, but instead just decided on King K Rool. Now people have wondered over the years what the K in his name stands for, and when asked, Steve Mayles replied that it didn't stand for anything. The K was just intended to form the pun that the last part of his name created. You know, putting the K and the Rool together to create cruel. Who doesn't love name puns? So in King K. Rool's first outing, Donkey Kong Country, he orders his Kremling army to steal Donkey Kong's banana hoard, leading to the Kong duo to traverse a series of colorful stages in order to retrieve it. Now why does King K. Rool want DK's bananas anyway? Well, there's been multiple theories thrown around over the years, ranging from K. Rool wanting the bananas for their nutritional properties, to stealing them so that Donkey Kong will starve. Which seems a little pointless, seeing as how on his journey, he encounters hundreds of bananas just lying around the island. I mean, I guess if you really want to get into it, you could say that these bananas are a part of the horde, and the Kremlings dropped them as they were stealing it, but you might also say that that's just how platforming games are. You collect stuff, you know how it goes. There's even another reason that the motive is that King K. Rool wants to occupy Donkey Kong's cozy treehouse, which given the future, when we see him napping in it with the Kongs, maybe that theory holds more weight than most initially expected. So once the Kongs defeat the Kremlings and recover their stolen bananas, it's on to King K. Rool's pirate ship Gangplank Galleon for the final fight. King K. Rool runs back and forth, then changes it up with jumping into the air, making cannonballs rain down. Probably the best part is the fake-out ending, when they start rolling the credits, but then, uh-oh, he's still got a little bit of fight left in him. He just needed some gorilla to the face. To the face! So, King K. Rool is defeated, and Donkey Kong gets his banana hoard back. However, this rival to the Kong family didn't stay gone for long, because he returned a year later in Donkey Kong Country 2. This time, K. Rool holds the name and title, Captain K. Rool. He is now dressed as a pirate and fires cannonballs out of his gun. This would become an ongoing thing in the Super Nintendo days, where with every new outing, K. Rool would take on a different alias. In his third appearance in Donkey Kong Country 3, he was now Baron K. Roolenstein, a mad scientist with a variety of laboratory-style weapons. Can we just stop and talk about how these three battles were kind of mixed up? You know, Captain K. Rool should have been on the pirate ship of the first game, Baron K. Roolenstein should have been on the flying airship of the second game, and King K. Rool should have been in the castle of the third game. I'm not sure if this was done on purpose. Well, okay, it probably was more than likely not done on purpose, but it's kind of a funny coincidence, isn't it? So what was in store for the Kong family on their big Nintendo 64 outing? Well, King K. Rool is back once again, and this time he has something new. Yeah, surprisingly, King K. Rool now has a tail. Ever since his creation and throughout his 16-bit appearances, he has been tailless. Odd, huh? But that's not the only new thing, he now has a voice.
I want you to do everything in your power to keep Donkey Kong distracted. Steal that hoard of golden bananas he treasures so much, and take care of his pathetic friends.
Man, it's like Darth Vader. That's game programmer Chris Sutherland voicing the maniacal Krocodile. He worked for Rare on many projects and also voiced a wide range of characters like Banjo and Kazooie, Daniel Carrington from Perfect Dark, and the announcer from Killer Instinct. This time, King K. Rool wants to destroy Kong Island with his massive death ray. Wow. But it does lead to one of the character's most memorable boss battles. All members of the Kong family face him one-on-one in a boxing arena. It's actually pretty cool, changing up the play mechanic, and it does lead to some pretty funny moments. So throughout the 2000s, King K. Rool maintained his status as Donkey Kong's main adversary, especially in his Nintendo handheld adventures like DK King of Swing, where the two rivals must battle each other while staying vertical on a climbing wall. And its sequel, DK Jungle Climber, where King K. Rool takes a page out of Bowser's book and grows to gigantic size, leading to a split-screen battle that tasks Donkey Kong with climbing high enough to land a hit on his head. King K. Rool even appeared outside his own series when he became a playable character in Mario Super Sluggers. However, something strange happened when Donkey Kong Country Returns was released on the Wii. Everyone just assumed that King K. Rool would be back once again as the main source driving the plot, but he was nowhere to be seen. The same with its sequel, Tropical Freeze. It was thought that Nintendo had moved on from the King Crocodile and we'd never see him again. However, there was a large group that wanted him to appear in another video game series. Fans had wanted Donkey Kong's main adversary to appear in Smash Bros. For years. Heck, even I put him on a top 10 list of characters I wanted to see back in the day. And finally, with Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Switch, after years of asking, King K. Rool made his grand appearance and was able to do battle with Nintendo's most iconic characters. And honestly, he became one of my favorites to play as. I love how his final smash harkens back to Donkey Kong 64 where he wanted to destroy Kong Island. Now stepping away from video games, there is another version of King K. Rool I absolutely need to talk about. His appearance in the Donkey Kong animated series from 1996. Yes, I know this series gets a bad rap for looking low quality and all that, but I love it. And my favorite character is King K. Rool, voiced by Benedict Campbell.
So, your in-depth, concise report of your spy mission makes one thing perfectly clear. You have absolutely no idea what those apes are up to, do you?
Now, they could have easily made him the generic villain bad guy type, but they actually chose to give him a sophisticated personality with a wide vocabulary.
Where I come from, we do things with style, drama, flair. All of Congo Bongo will be watching. I'm not a common cat burglar. I'm a grand dictator who's about to cleverly wrestle the power away from those mindless monkeys.
Benedict Campbell really excels in this role. And decades later, in 2023, he even returned to voice K. Rool in the fan animation project DKC Return to Crocodile Isle. I can't recommend this short enough. It is truly top shelf quality. I'll put a link in the description. Man, I love everything about this. But you know what I love more than anything? Is how Campbell recaptures King K. Rool's impeccable line delivery.
Clump, my dearly dauntless Clump. Remind me, if I ever were to kill myself, I could scale to the heights of your blind devotion and leap down towards your IQ!
If you're a fan of the Donkey Kong Country animated series, as well as a fan of animation in general, you'll absolutely love this. I'm not entirely sure what the future holds for this iconic crocodile. He's been absent in the Kong's last two outings, but here's hoping that he makes a return someday. I think his popularity in Smash Bros. Has proven to Nintendo that he still has a massive fan base. At least I hope it did. But even if he never returns to Kong Island to battle with everyone's favorite tie-wearing primate, he will forever live on in the hearts of his fans.